This right here, the dollar, the almighty dollar, right? Look, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the media. There's a lot of stuff that's really happening in our economy right now and in the country and, just all over the world, right? And there's a lot of people who are speculating, what's going to happen to the US dollar. All right, let's start back at, let's not go back to the beginning. Let's be a little bit more reasonable, right? Let's take it back to 1973. Professor sat in his office, did an interview from his office, and spoke about, this is 1973, spoke about the concept and idea that he believed that the US dollar, that paper money, not necessarily the dollar, so to speak, but he believed that concrete, hard, paper money, metal, coins, he believed this was all going away. And he broke it down. He said sometime in the very near future, we're going to do away with that and that the world is moving towards a digital currency. A digital currency. 1973, he talked about this, right? Okay, so he broke it down and said how he believed this was a transition that was taking place. And he believed that this money would be no longer needed and that we wouldn't have it anymore. And he said that this was it was imminent. Like it was on its way. The wheels were already in motion. This was 1973. Just wrap your head around that for just a moment. We weren't even, on the internet. We weren't, we didn't have computers in everybody's household at the time. There was the technological advancements that have taken place since then are huge, enormous. So to think that at that point, he already saw this coming. He already believed that to be a thing. Okay, now let me tell you what I believe that he got right. And let me break it down for you because he absolutely had a point in saying that it's a fluid. It's a more fluid concept. It's a way that currency can be more protected. It can be more tracked. So many things can be done with a digital currency, right? It's cool. It's absolutely cool. There's a lot of, over the past few years, right, with the further advancements and the more everyday common man getting involved with crypto, there's been a lot of bugs, been a lot of issues, a lot of problems with safety and security, even though that people have theorized the concept of currency being able to be more secure using a digital currency, which it can be. It absolutely can be. But the thing that has to happen is there's got to be policy in place to protect said currency. If it's just kind of up in the air, willy-nilly, whatever happens, then yeah, that's where we run into a lot of issues and we lack that security and lack that safety net. We lack that ability to trust and put confidence in that digital currency that it's there, that it's viable, that it works, and that it's secure and protected, and nothing's gonna just happen to it, right? I'm not just gonna magically lose it in cyberspace, right? Okay, and that's been something that a lot of people have struggled with because there's been a lot of people pushing for that policy to be in place to make crypto a more viable option. Whereas there's been so many other people, the crypto cowboys, so to speak. I've talked about these guys before who were like, oh no, they don't want their money to be traceable. They don't want their money to be visible. Okay, every currency is visible. Every currency's been traceable. What kind of shady business are you running that you're trying to launder your money where the government can't see it, where nobody can know what you have? Everybody, it's there. It's fine. It doesn't matter. You're using the US dollar and people know. You're using euros, pesos, yen. It doesn't matter. People know. It's there, right? You're earning money, you're making money, you're spending money. It's all there. Digital though, the idea of being able to trace it and protect it and track it and secure it. You could have all your money. There's this idea, it's got some kinks in it still, but the idea that you could have all your money right here in just this one little device. But it's secure, nobody can touch it, nobody can change it, nobody can alter it. You can access it, but if they don't have the code, you can access it, but they can't. Like, it's got a lot of potential, but it still has a ways to go. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of people who've been making, great strides to making this happen, okay? Okay, now let's take crypto and digital currency and put that aside for a moment, and let's just get back to the dollar, because there's a lot of stuff in the media, especially social media, because the media talks about things and then people get on social media and they want to have their opinion and they want to put their spin on the story, right? They want to give you their perspective, and people want to act like they know something when they don't really know something, or they want to feel like they're important when we're just people, right? You're probably important for something, but you commenting on the news, does that make you important? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But people want to feel validated. That's what social media is all about, okay? I don't want to get off on a tangent about social media, but so there's all this stuff going on in the news and on social media, and they're talking about what's going on in the world regarding the US dollar, right? Because there's different places that there's speculations that people are trying to, I don't want to accept the US dollar. There's a lot of things happening in our economy. There's a lot of things happening in our economy that makes people question our currency. Well, let me rephrase. There's a lot of things happening in our economy that makes their question valid. So they're questioning the viability of the US dollar. There's a lot of things happening in our economy. We've been in a recession for a hot minute now, even though a lot of people want to get out there and say, recession's on the way. No, recession's here, baby. It's been here. We're in a recession, and it's okay. America's been through recessions before. It's not the first. It probably won't be the last. And it's going to be okay. There's an ebb and a flow. We will be okay. We will overcome this. It's just a matter of how businesses are going to respond to it, how politicians are going to respond to it, and even more importantly than the businesses and the politicians is how the everyday man is going to respond to it. That's right, you and me. I mean, I do things with my business, but I also do things as a person. What you do as a person is going to matter a lot. Are you going to get scared? Are you going to start hoarding your cash? Are you going to live your life as if nothing's happening? Are you going to start getting on to social media and implement fear tactics into other people because you're afraid? Are you going to open a dialogue and actually talk about what's going on and how we could better benefit, better liberate our country and help our economic structure? What is it you, the everyday man, is going to do? What is it you are going to do? What is it I'm going to do? And this is just one of my many steps that I've taken. I've taken a lot of steps to try to educate and try to help people to understand what's going on and where things are at, and what you and I could be doing differently. And I'm going to keep doing that. And I encourage you to do the same. Don't get on social media and start, being nasty, and don't freak out. Don't panic. Things are going to be okay, but things need to be done. Steps need to be, steps need to be taken. We don't need to sit idly by and say, America's going to be fine. No, America's going to be fine because we're going to all do our part. Now, when we look at things like you see the concept of Russia and China and how, what is going to be happening with Russia and China regarding this whole merge of power, right? This is not China's idea, okay? It's not China's idea, especially when it comes to economics. Russia's got no legs to stand on. It's not a popular opinion. Russia just doesn't carry the weight they used to. Doesn't mean, and I'm not throwing shade, I'm not attacking Russia, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just being honest. Like, Russia's not carrying the weight that it once did. And because it doesn't carry the weight that it once did, when you're looking at a country like China, it carries a lot of weight, right? There's a country that carries a lot of weight with them. In the early 2000s, China made some huge strides. Some people don't want to recognize it. Some people don't want to look at it. Some people do look at it and they want to look at it as like this is like something to be feared, you know? And other people don't want to recognize it because they don't want to acknowledge that China has done something good. The reality is that China made strides in the early 2000s. They made strides towards what they called a free market. No, sorry, apologies. An open market, right? An open market. Okay, now this is the closest to capitalistic ideals that they've ever been, right? They're not a capitalist nation, not by a damn sight. You know what I'm saying? They're just not. But they made strides towards having an open market where people could build businesses and create wealth and, you know, develop things and you know, make progress. Okay. Now, the catch is that back in the 90s, I'm not sure which all countries, this is something I was actually talking to a good buddy of mine about the other day, and I don't recall because I was kind of young. I was young back then. I was I was a teenager back in the 90s, and, you know, honestly, I just haven't taken the time or effort to go back and look it up. But I'm sure you could if you were interested, and at some point I may. I don't know. I don't know if I care too much anymore. But back in the 90s, there were several countries that their currency, there was a limit on the exchange, not the rate. The rate was the rate. The exchange rate for this currency to that currency was the rate. That was it. But the exchange amount, you could only exchange so much at any given one moment, right? That seems, to some, that seems silly. And to some, that seems like, well, what does it matter? I mean, how often do I really need to exchange, you know, money? How often do I go on vacation to another country and need to exchange currency, right? Okay. The thing is that China is one of those countries that's always had a limit on the amount you can exchange. What does this mean? The fact that they still have this limit in place to today, it means that one of the issues with that is that they can control the amount of money that they transact, that they exchange to other currency. Now, by doing that, they can keep wealth inside their nation, inside their country, and limit the wealth. So they've created opportunities and places where people can make money, but they can't change that money. They can't take that money elsewhere. They can't utilize that money outside of their country. They've created wealth that can only be utilized in their country. This is a weird dynamic. A lot of people can speculate all the many different things that's happening and why that's happening. But ultimately, what it comes down to is they've allowed people to generate wealth, but they've controlled the wealth. Like I said, ultimately, you can speculate lots of different things about that, but ultimately, Russia's looking to get that alliance with China. China's always been, they've liked their power and their control in their hands. So am I concerned about an alliance between China and Russia? No, not really. It's not ideal. It's not reasonable at this point. Okay, it's not something that I believe they're seeking and they're after. It's not something that I believe that China really wants to implement. Now, a lot of people look at China as the big bad boogeyman. Ooh. There was different times that I felt, you know, in my younger years, that I felt like we were doing different things and we were not focused, and we had neglected where China was and the weight that they could carry. But did that mean that I believed that they were out to get us? Not necessarily. But did I believe that we were in a state of vulnerability? Absolutely. There have definitely been times we've been in a state of vulnerability. Do I believe we are somewhat vulnerable today? Absolutely. But I think we're more vulnerable because of the fear tactics that are being implemented throughout our nation and all over the place. And the things that are going on in the media, the things that are going on social media, the things that everyday people are saying. But all these things that everyday people are getting out there and saying when they don't have knowledge about what's going on, and they want to speculate and, you know, come up with these hypotheses and theories and all these just wild conspiracies and everything else about what's going on, not only in our nation, but in other nations, in other countries. And people want to just get out here and speculate everything when they don't really take the time to really read. They don't really take the time to really learn about our economics. They don't really take the time to learn what's going on in other countries. Like, they don't. There's a reality that there's a small group of people, very small handful of people. Most politicians in Congress, there's a reason that there's certain people with certain expertise and things like that. And there's a small group of people who comprehend on a high level, comprehend foreign affairs and policy. Because ultimately, these people have dedicated their lives to understand what's going on. So I want you to take what I'm saying. First of all, what I'm saying here, what I've put it all out here, it's like, take it with a grain of salt. Seriously. You don't got to believe me. You don't got to believe me. What I'm telling you is that I don't have fear. What I'm telling you is that I believe there's a lot of things happening and there's a lot of people speculating so many things, and that ultimately we're going to be okay. And then ultimately, just like that 50 years. It's been 50 years since he said we're going to have a digital currency and no more dollars. Here we are, man. We're on the cusp of having more viable digital currencies available, but our dollar's not gone. And our dollar's not going anywhere. Not yet. Honestly, I can't predict the future. I don't know if it will go anywhere ever, but will it disappear in my lifetime? I doubt it. Will it disappear in yours? Doubt it. Seriously doubt it. My boy's lifetime? Nah, probably not. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. Anything's possible. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going on. I don't know everything. Do I read a lot? Do I pay attention a lot? Do I understand the economics of our nation? Absolutely. Am I the most brilliant guy? No. But when you're buying into all this nonsense that you see on social media, when you're getting drugged into the hype, and you want to share and retweet and all this nonsense about things that you can't comprehend, things that you've never taken the time. All you did was you read a caption, you read a headline, you read a little paragraph, a little blurb of the summary of the whole thing, and you're like, oh, that totally makes sense. It sounds like they all make sense. Every single, all of them make sense. Because people use colorful wording and ideologies, and they leave out the part that doesn't fit, and they add the things that make their story make sense. Any good journalist, let me use that word very loosely, any good writer is going to make their story plausible. How many movies have you watched? You get sucked into the plot. You're watching a movie, and you're like, oh my God, and you believed that girl was in danger. You believed that man was in danger. You believed that, oh my gosh, you bought into it. It's good writing. Doesn't make it real. Hollywood's not real. Now, there are true stories, blah, 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 whatever. Overall, Hollywood's not real. And when you're buying into social media, when you're buying into the spin on mainstream media, they're trying to get ratings. Now, are they lying? Well, some people sit here and tell you that all of them are liars. A lot of people will sit there and tell you that the other guy is a liar and the guy that agrees with them isn't. At the end of the day, they're looking for ratings. They're looking to make money. They're a business. They're a bottom line. They're going to tell the little fluff pieces, the little stories that get, the soccer moms and, whatever, the kiddies, the kids, all the kiddos to gather around the TV, and they're going to watch and they're going to be excited. They're going to put those little fluff stories on there because that gets ratings. They're going to talk about something a little scandalous because that gets ratings. Now, if there's a kid that's been, kidnapped, depending on the spin they can put on it, they might tell you about it or they might not. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is ratings. It's not about lying. Yes, do they spin their side of the story? Of course they do. But what they're trying to do is get your view, you viewing. That's it, you viewing. If you're watching it, they're winning. But any good writer is going to make you buy into it. Any good writer is going to have you question. Have you ever read a good book? It was complete fiction, but you reading it, you're just like, oh man. Like you got so wrapped up in the book, you bought it. You bought into the idea of the possibility. You can know that things are completely ludicrous and still want to convince yourself. Part of the reason is there's a subconscious thing. It's part of our defense mechanism. We want to be able to know who the bad guy is. If we don't know who the bad guy is, that's unsettling. It's unnerving. We want to know who the bad guy is. So if we can pinpoint and put a finger on, that's the bad guy, then we know. We can sleep warm in bed at night knowing that, I know that guy's way over there. And I know I can trust him to take care of him. Because you know who the bad guy is. If you don't know the bad guy, that's unsettling. Ever had someone break into your car? Break into your house? And then he wasn't caught? You feel nervous. You feel fearful. You feel uneasy all the time. Why? Not because you're scared of what he might do, but because you don't know who the bad guy is. You don't know what you're defending against. You don't know how big he might be. You don't know how strong he might be. You don't know what kind of weapon he might have. You don't know what he's seen of yours or what he's gone through, what he's been into. You just don't know. That not knowing is very unsettling. It is. It's a defense mechanism. It's designed. It's ingrained in our mind to help us keep our guard up when we don't know. Now, if we can convince ourselves that we know, we feel better. I can defend against that guy. I know. I'm gonna keep my eye on that guy. That's what we do. So, am I worried about the big bad boogeyman China? No, I'm not. If you want to worry, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm not. Do I feel like Russia is doing things in this world that should be concerned? We should be concerned about, we should be mindful of? Yeah. But do I believe they're going to take actions against us? Do I believe that they have the backing? Do I believe that all these countries are going to line up and partner and take action against America economically and, do away with our currency? No, I don't buy into that either. There's a lot of people who want you to believe in that. And to me, that's fear tactics. To me, that's keeping you nervous. To me, that's keeping you unsettled. You don't know. It's like they want you to be comfortable enough knowing that, hey, that's the bad guy, but just nervous enough, I don't know how the bad guy's going to do it because it's a whole country and they're partnering with other countries. What are they going to do? It's a real intricate balance to mess with people's heads. And that's what people do. It's manipulation. I don't buy into it. Do I think we need to know what's going on? Yes and no. You should take time to read up and see what's going on in the world. But at the same time, do you have to know about everything that's going on in the world? No, man. I believe and buy into the idea of global fatigue. We absolutely get exhausted trying to know everything that's going on, trying to be involved in everything that's happening. It's draining. It's mentally, emotionally, psychologically, even physically draining. We don't got to know. We don't got to know everything. Take your time. Know some things. If you don't know, keep your lips buttoned. Or maybe talk to some trusted friends, some trusted family members. Say, hey, you know what? I haven't really been paying attention to that crisis that was over in this country over here. Have you been paying attention? Oh, you have? Can we talk about it a little bit? Because I had some thoughts, but I haven't been paying attention enough to know about it. Like open dialogue like that. Don't get on social media behind your keyboard and start typing up things that you think you know, but you haven't even taken the time to read. You haven't taken the time to be educated. You don't understand economically, the foreign affairs. You don't understand globally what's happening. You don't see anything but blurbs on social media and the mainstream media, and then you take those for facts and you're going to run with it. You're going to run with it. You're not only going to run with it, but you're going to do one of two things. This is what a lot of people do. They'll hear something and they'll either take it as theirs. Let me tell you what I know. And they'll just, and they don't even have the information to back it up. If you ask them a question, because like I said in the beginning, right? I mean, that's what I said, right? What'd you say? You said there's a problem. What problem? Well, like I said, there's a problem. But that's what people do. And then the flip side of that is they'll take something and they'll be like, I told you that guy on CNN, he's crazy, man. You know what he said? He said this. Well, did you know that's actually happening? No, man, that guy's crazy. He said it. He said, he did. And they just jump to conclusions like they know or they don't know based on absolutely nothing. Based on a blurb that they thought sounded outrageous, or a blurb that they sound, oh, that totally makes sense. Let's get in on this. I knew it all along. I knew it. I told you. I knew. I knew. I knew. See, that's what people want to do. That's what people want to do. Don't buy into it. Don't get caught up into it. Just if you take the time to get educated about something, really get educated. Read not just the things that agree with your side. Read the things that oppose what you think. That's how true research is actually done. Most people don't know that. Actual research, you have to pose a question, and then you have to disprove. You have to begin searching for things to counter the question you just posed, so that way it can lead you to more data. Yeah, marinate on that for a second. Most people don't want to know about that. Most people don't want to think about that. Most people don't want to actually take the time to do real research. They think, well, if I just search for enough people that agree with me, hey man, I just found like 5 people that agree with me. Told you I was right. No. Find some people that disagree with you and find the validity in what they're saying. If there's no validity, well, then your idea is plausible. And let's start moving forward with seeing how. But if they oppose you and you can find validity in their ideas, you found plausibility in what they're saying, then you got to go back and question. All right. Like I said, when I started this out, this whole post, I wanted to talk about the dollar. The US dollar. And do I think the US dollar is going anywhere? No. I don't believe this is going anywhere. I don't. It's not going anywhere, man. I could be wrong. Everybody could prove me wrong. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm claiming that I know some things. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot of research. There's certain key aspects of this. Like I said, the things that are consistent with China's behavior over decades. There's things that are consistent in the United States behavior over decades. Whether it was a Republican or a Democrat in the office, there's certain things that are consistent. This US dollar, I don't see it going nowhere. Is it struggling right now? Yeah. Does that mean it's gonna break? No. Y'all can take that opinion and, do with it what you will. But I just want you to understand, Take the time to read. Take the time to learn. Take the time to educate yourself, and don't just trust homeboy on Fox, homeboy on CNN or MSNBC. I don't care whether they tend to align with your line of thinking or not. Don't just trust them. And don't definitely, absolutely, never get your reliable sources from social media. No. Not Twitter, not Facebook, they're not news. They're social media. Go do some research, learn a thing or two, crack a book. And if you decide to use Google, that's fine. Google's awesome. Got a smartphone right in your hand. I'm using one right now. Pull out your smartphone, Google some stuff, right? But then scroll all the way to the bottom. Validate your sources. Figure out what publication this is. Figure out who was the writer. Then look up on the writer. Find out the credentials of said, the reliability of said news source. Like I said, the publication, the website, the magazine, the whatever. Find the validity of that. Then also verify the writer. Because they may have hired a writer and then maybe that writer turned out to be not so good. Find out the reliability. Well, man, he's got a 90% accuracy. All right, 90%. Do you believe that's good enough? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. That's on you. But start validating your sources. Get a source to back up your source and then get another source to back that source up. You take it steps back, man. That's what you got to do. I think I'm going to do another post just talking about the concept and idea of research and understanding how to really do valid research. I think too many people don't understand it. Too many people miss so many things. And it's so important to so many aspects of our life. Understanding, what's going on in the world, the economy, what's going on in businesses and stocks, just so many things. If you want to take an investment, you want to do marketing, you want to do advertising, any of these different things, understanding the concept of valid research, man, is so incredibly great. People, a lot of times, especially when it comes to marketing and advertising, they'll do like what's called a case study. And they don't really dive deep enough. And sometimes that's why they have these things that are like fads. For a hot minute, it was hot. That minute expired. They didn't plan for long enough. And it's because they relied on a case study, an isolated moment, opposed to valid research that's got longevity. It's going to be consistent. All right. I just want to leave y'all with that. I want to leave you with the idea of doing valid research, not trusting just anything that you see or read or hear. Take the time to go validate what I just said. Go look, go research what I've just told you right now. Verify the things the little things the statistics that I quoted for you. Go verify them. Go check up on me. Don't just take me for my word. You don't know me. I love you though. I respect you. I appreciate you. I'm feeling the love while y'all are here. Be sure and show me that love. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ding your bell and get your notifications. Stay tuned because your boy's got so much more coming at you. I got lots of love for y'all, man. I'm excited to lift y'all up, for y'all to lift me up, and for us to just lift each other up. We're going to be better and stronger tomorrow than we were today. That's all we're going to keep doing. We're going to be better when we lay down than when we woke up. You heard? All right, y'all get cocky. Y'all have a blessed day. Y'all have a blessed nighttime. Your boy's out.